video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
I'm KJ Wright from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbFam.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hawks Real Talk. We have a lot of stuff we got to talk about, and we got to keep it real because it's getting real nasty right now. Seahawks on a 3-game losing streak after starting off 3-0, looking like the sky's the limit. Suddenly that sky has fallen and hit hard at rock bottom. That's not rock bottom. I mean, there's a lot of teams with a lot of things worse than us, given that we are still tied technically with the 49ers in our division. And while it feels like we've hit the bottom, we're still just 3-3. And right near the top, they're hanging in our division. So it could be a lot worse. But the question is, can we fix what's been ailing the Seahawks? What is wrong with the Hawks? And is it fixable? 6 games in, we got 11 of these suckers to go. And right now, it feels like everybody wants to do everything extremely rash. Like, fire the coach, fire the coordinators, bench Geno, trade DK. Everybody's ready to sell the farm after landing at 5-5, or 3-3, 500 after losing this brutal national game to the 49ers. But we got more work to do as we take on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, early morning game on Sunday. We're going to break this thing down with the crew and talk about what we think we can do to fix this thing. Again, this video brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We're going to talk a little bit more about the scores and the odds and everything as we get into it. But for right now, let's do it. Let's get the team on board and meet the Hawks Real Talk panel. Here we go. There we are. We've got in the top right corner, we've got our latest member and youngest member, Abel Pasley. Abel, how you doing today, man? You got to make sure you're unmute. There you go.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Just thinking about this upcoming week. One of our toughest tests, along with the crazy schedule ahead of us. And excited to break some plays down.
Yeah, for sure. Sky-High Aviation down the bottom right is going to be doing that. Before I introduce him, shout out to Dukes of Hazzard for the support and the super chat. Says, what's up, Norb? Sky-High, love your energy. There you go, right? Win or lose, we got to keep bringing the energy, bringing the excitement. Speaking of Sky-High Aviation, all the way from North Dakota. Sky, how's it going, man? How you feeling now? What, 4 days, 5 days removed from this brutal loss? Are you feeling a little bit better? Because I know you were pretty down after Thursday.
Oh, it was like ripping the Band-Aid off right now is how it feel like right now. I think I finally got over it, but now I have an obligation to just go back and watch what happened on Thursday again. Lucky that I went to bed before that stream. I actually suggested that Norb do a stream after the game and that I would come on and have a few choice words, but I ended up falling asleep and completely forgetting about it. So good thing that I did, because it would have been bad. But today, it'll be somewhat of a lighter version of that, as we'll see evident in the film that we look at.
Yeah, I was ready to do the 4-part quad screen, and then it just ended up being me and Abel. But hey, we held it down for what it was Thursday night. But glad we got a few of those initial thoughts out of the way. But today we're going to get more precision scientific like about how to break this down. All right, Nick LaBow. Nick, how you doing?
Man, it's always tough coming on here after a loss, especially to a rival and a loss of that caliber. So not as good as I would be if coming off a win, but it's hard to complain outside of the Seahawks. And yeah, it's kind of funny. Jose and I were kind of on Norb, like, oh yeah, we should do the stream post game, and then it comes like, I don't know, 11 o'clock our time. He's like, all right, guys, I'm ready for the stream. And then it's the youngest member of our panel who's up to do it with him. So kind of funny how
I know. There was no school the next day, right? Everybody had the next day free, but yet, that's all right. That's okay. Maybe it was better. Maybe for the better, because Sky-High might have gone into another expletive rant.
It would have been a
had
crap.
that been the case.
Yeah, put him on a little administrative leave for a week.
Put him in timeout.
Yep.
Brock A. watching says, watching from the stands, obviously at the game. Compared to TV, I see a lot of differences. Our D always looks confused during plays and when timeout breaks. O-line is always frustrated. Geno constantly missing wide open passes. I don't know about constantly. I don't know about constantly. He definitely had a rough day on his birthday, but I don't know about constantly missing wide open guys. But anyway, so as we always do with this show, what we do is we talk a little bit about the last game that we had, in this case, the Thursday night national game against the 49ers. Just sort of our own recap thoughts on what happened. And then Sky High has pre-picked several plays that he's going to break down, and we'll talk about those particular plays and how they went. And then we'll put our focus onto the Falcons and what the Seahawks have to do to try to get a win in Atlanta. And we will we'll look back on our score predictions of last week, and we'll do new predictions for what we think will happen this week. So let's start off with just thoughts on the game. Abel, let's start with you, man. What was after Thursday night? I mean, we kind of talked about it during the show, but just to recap it again, now that 5 days later. So what are your thoughts looking back at the loss to the 49ers?
A lot of things to take into account. I think it was another game where we had a lot of opportunities to capitalize, take an advantage, or, just tie it up, and we didn't. I think one particular thing with this game is that we just played sloppy, and we made a lot more mistakes than they did. I think we had maybe three turnovers, I think. Could have been 4. And they, we had nothing on defense. So I think it was just a matter of never really capitalizing on our momentum. And again, they had more I tried to point it out before the game. I was like, the explosive plays, we need to limit them. Because I think in this season particularly, it's all momentum. Most of these games we've lost them because we don't have that momentum and we're giving up too many explosive plays.
Yeah, momentum was clearly never really in the Seahawks' corner, except for the one time, right, when we got within 6 points and it looked like we had a chance to take the lead. I know Nick was in the building. We had talked at halftime about what we needed to do. We needed to play a little luck to go our way, and we got it. We got it in that return touchdown by Shenault. Laviska Shenault, and that was awesome. And then we won't talk about that right now. I'm sure we'll see it in the breakdowns. And just like that, the momentum went from here, swung all the way, and crashed through the building and knocked the stadium over. I mean, that's what it felt like, a wrecking ball. But we got to change that. We've been way behind early in games too many times this year, and we can't afford to fall behind again and give momentum to the opponent right off the bat for sure. Sky High, your chance to kind of get your rant. Well, I don't know if it's a rant. Your thoughts about this game going before we dissect it.
Yeah, I just think, Abel brings up a really good point. They made less mistakes than we did. The Niners, by no means did they play a perfect game. It was just the game was filled with mistakes from both sides, but Seattle really made a lot of glaring mistakes. And I think I think this game was really as much of an eye-opener in terms of more of an eye-opener than what the Giants game was, because now I thought maybe the Giants game was really, it was somewhat of a wash in the pan. It was just a bad result. Maybe we slept on the wrong side of the bed, didn't really come out and play our best football. This game really just opened my eyes a lot more to the glaring problems that we have as a football team and what we're going to have to do to combat that. And that is the poor offensive line play. We can't defend the outside run. Our linebacker play has deteriorated over the past few weeks. And I don't agree with Mike McDonald's way that he's been calling the defense so far these past few weeks in terms of playing a lot more zone defense, a lot more nickel coverage, high cover 3 defenses. We have a really good cornerbacking unit. I'd like to see a lot more man units, man coverage, better plays especially when we incorporate QB spies, better plays from our Mike and Will linebackers. It was honestly just compiled into a really disappointing performance. Now, there were some bright spots there. We were able to put some fight into this game and keep ourselves in it, and we gave ourselves a chance to win multiple times. And we weren't able to capitalize on that because of mistakes. We were bailed out, actually, by the officials, which is a rarity in today's day. For for us, and we still couldn't take proper advantage of it. And, the 49ers do what the 49ers do. They are a really good team. And no matter how many mistakes they make, they always have more good than bad. And that's in the end, that's what great teams do. You look back at the Seahawks, and we would always make mistakes. But in the end, we would always pull it out at the end, or we'd always have the upper hand at the end. It would always result in the win for us. But people that are saying hating on Geno and all that, again, that's wrong. We're playing against a 49ers defense that adapts really well. They're like a reptile. They're able to change colors they're able to change on the flip of a coin. And I think that's what makes them such a really tough defense to play. And but by no means, Geno did have a bad game, but by no means is this the throw in the towel for him. End the Geno experiment. Put in Howell. Don't extend him, because he's an elite quarterback, and we've seen based on play that he's an elite quarterback. So yeah, it's just a really bad game overall. We just made too many mistakes.
It was unfortunate that Geno had a bad day. Probably his worst day in this 2024 season, on the day that he was celebrating his birthday.
And I hope it's his worst day. I hope it's the worst day that he has this year, because it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how bad it looks when we go back and examine the tape. Nick, you and I were at the game. We met up at halftime. We were already down. I think it was like 17. I don't know. It was a two-score game already at to 3. It felt feeling really bad. And you and I kind of talked about what they needed to do. And as I said earlier, we almost did it. We did everything we needed to do to get it right on our doorstep, only to kick it away. So what are your thoughts looking back now at this game?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I definitely agree with these guys. And it feels like this season's kind of been, and I'll say this, but I hope it's not going to be. It's kind of a so close, but not enough. I mean, we saw it during the Lions game where we almost won. We saw it against the Giants game. We had the chance to kick the go-ahead field goal. And then we saw it in this game where we were down. We had a deficit. We came back up. We had the momentum, and then it all just blundered. It fell apart. This team, like Jose said, has glaring issues. And I'm not trying to make an excuse, but we're kind of starting to see having a rookie head coach, having a rookie offensive coordinator, having a rookie defensive coordinator, the bumps in the road. And we kind of got to start to level it out here. And it might not be the prettiest season, but I think there are things we can fix going through to at least get ourselves a few more wins. And, I mean, right now we're in a position where the NFC West is as close as it's going to be. And probably in terms of the 49ers in a reloading year for them, they're going to be the most at reach they've been in the past few years, and we need to capitalize on that. The offense has to get a lot better. I mean, to have 14 carries for only 32 yards for Ken Walker, the offensive line's been a problem all game. I think Stone Forsythe's like number 1 for pressures allowed in the league, and frankly, our offensive line's been getting bullied all year long. It's been a problem. And then defensively, we reverted kind of back. We saw the first 3 games and we're like, wow, we're actually tackling. And we've since reverted back to where it's a running back field day whenever they come here. I mean, I don't even know when Jordan Mason went out. I don't even know the name of the 49ers running back. I don't think most people have heard of him with respect to him. He came out there and he just had a field day. He looked great. So we have tons of problems. I get that we're not fully healthy, but there's also, you can't deny the glaring issues here throughout the team that need to be fixed.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, but I think the most glaring problem that needs to be fixed is what you just talked about, the run disparity on both sides of the ball. Inability to stop the run and inability to run the football. After the Giants game, we were all saying, they need to give Ken Walker Jr. at least 15, 20 carries. Well, they gave him 15 carries. And like you said, it amounted to 30-something yards. So it's no good if you're running it and you're getting 2 yards a clip. That is not going to get it done. You can run it 20 times and you're just going to get like 40 yards. That's not. You got to be good at it, and it's also how you do it. I felt like it was almost like our coordinator looked at the comments and said, "Oh man, everyone's mad I'm not running the football. Well, let's just run it a whole bunch. Let's just get that out of the way." And it's like, no, you don't just bash your head against the wall. You got to like balance it out, a little bit of mix and pass, but just don't give up on it. It's also when you run it, how you run it, and not just run it. Oh, it's not working. Okay, we're behind by 20 now, right? So it's got to be that balance of mixing it with run and pass and keeping them off balance. But it comes back down to it. If we can't stop the run, we're going to be in store for a long season because we've seen what happens when we can't stop the run. And if we can't run the football, then they don't respect our play action. They can just come after Geno. We'll fall behind. We'll be losing the time of possession. The defense will be tired because they're just getting run over. And when we won't have the football, I mean, it'll be exactly what we've seen the last two games all season long. And so the question that we have to ask, this is just the top. This is the top problem I think we have. But there's much more going on with that. So we'll have to see if we can address that question, because if we can't solve that, then it's like, what's even improved from the last 2 years? Because this is what we've been saying for the last 2 years already. Yeah. And that was before Mike McDonald came in and he was supposed to solve this problem. Now, granted, it's not like it's going to get fixed overnight. We all know that. But, man, it felt so promising after game one against the Broncos. Like, hey, they're tackling and they're not mistackled. They're stopping the guy right in front of them. And then it's kind of like evaporated and we regressed to back where we were, even though our players are totally different. Coaches are totally different. So don't know what it is, but I do know, looking at what I've seen, there's a lot of bad angles, namely by the linebackers. I was concerned about the linebackers from the beginning of the season. I still think that's one of the biggest issues. Bad angles, bad gap integrity. And if you have bad gap integrity, what you see is what happened late in the game, where you get a 49er stretch play and he just goes, oh, look at that gap. And nobody there to contain it. And we've seen that too many times in the first 6 games. Well, not maybe the first 6, but the last 3 games for sure in the losses. So clearly there's a laundry list of things to fix, and we're in the fire trying to put the fires out in this boat while it's out to sea. So, man, can we fix these things before we get to Atlanta on Sunday? Is it fixable? And I always bring up that point. It's the Jimmies and the Joes versus the X's and the O's, right? That old expression. X's and O's means it's a scheme thing. It's a coaching thing. If it's a Jimmys and the Jones, it means, do we just not have the people to execute any brilliant game plan? Because you can have the best roadmap to success in the world, but if you don't have the players to execute it, it doesn't mean anything. Or is it both? Are we missing the Jimmys and the Joes and the X's and the O's and the O's? That's what we got to see if they can fix it. But yeah, let's painfully review this 49ers game, and then we'll talk about what can we do to try to fix this team before we go into Atlanta. Sky-High, you ready for this deep dive in?
Yeah, hold up. Let me verify that. Yep. Let's go ahead. I guess.
Okay. All right. The painful look back at this third straight loss for the Seahawks. Here we go. Man, we're on a kickoff. Oh, going left to right.
That kickoff.
I wonder what kickoff.
Oh, this one. Again, the mistakes.
I'll have you know, Norb, that is not that kickoff, and this is the wrong way.
Well, I know it's not the touchdown because we were going the other direction, but
the touchdown and the fumble were in the same direction.
Yeah.
So I've reviewed one kickoff play already this year. I think it was the New England when it was just you and I, Norb. We did the New England one, and it was something that I picked up on while I was watching the game on the broadcast. And before we actually get into this, we'll have two types of review. We're going to have one that's just going to have a plain view like this. And then we'll have one, it's called Prime Vision. NFL 20 Plus gives us an option to view Prime Vision as a play. It'll have a little score bug here, but a lot of the players will have trackers on them with their names, and they'll have live tracks in the game. So it makes it a little easier to see. And plus, I like the camera angle. It's a little different, a little better, and it'll be a little easier to understand. That'll be about 3. That'll only be for about 3 of the plays. And and some of them we have repeat looks with. So we'll get things started, and this is a precursor play almost. And I believe this is the opening kickoff. So, yep, 12 flag's been raised. We got the siren going off. Woo! Right. And I think what I've noticed that one thing I like about Jay Harbaugh, first of all, is that he's very inventive and unique. He's not afraid to be different when it comes to special teams. Now, most teams these days, we're going to usually always see 2 returners back deep because of the way that the rules are, the landing zone rules are, and the touchbacks rules are. And Shenault ends up taking this, and we talk about gap integrity, and we talk about lead man, right? He receives it. It's on a bounce, and Shenault is going to be told that wherever D. Williams goes, I believe that's his name, Shenault goes to the opposite side. There's no follow your lead blocker, none of that. It's always to the opposite side, and you're going to see why here. Because it's easy to assume that he's going to follow the lead blocker, right? Because these guys are crashing down here. He's just a decoy, and these guys come up here, right? Well, now what you've essentially done is everybody's holding their block. Damn good job. That's a great job. That's the one thing that's going to allow these plays like this to gel together is our guys holding serve, holding a block. And so what you're going to see here now is, again, like I said, Shenault is now one-on-one with him, pretty much, right? You almost can never count on a kicker to make the tackle, right? But he's one-on-one with him, and all he's got to do is essentially, I mean, his feet are all over the place, and all he's got to do essentially is to plant his feet, cut the other way. Barner finds his man, and even though this doesn't do well, it creates the scenario where he's able to break tackles, and he's able to essentially create a one-on-one opportunity for himself to make a big play, right? And the bounce has something to do with this, right? The bounce throws off the defense to an extent because you don't know which way the ball is gonna bounce. We saw this with Percy Harvin in the Super Bowl, and you see here Williams takes him out over there. He just draws the eyes of the defense or the return team, and this is somewhat of a precursor because we see this exact thing happen on the touchdown, and it'll end up resulting or the return an extra few returns later, and it ends up being a touchdown. So it's just a precursor, pre-setup so that way people can really understand if anything has been really successful for us, it's been special teams, right? So good on Shenault there.
Nice job finding a positive play. Amongst all the negative plays that we've had. But yeah, he was basically like one, maybe 2 guys away from breaking it on that opening kickoff.
Right, yeah.
That guy could have been held a little bit longer. There wasn't a lot of room left.
I'm trying to see if he was down at all because he ended up getting up and running after that. And
he was never actually.
I don't think he was. I mean, I'm trying to find a part to see if there's.
Oh, because he's on a massive humanity.
It looks like he's
kind of like the canine play in Detroit, where he was like rolling all over the dude, never actually made contact with the ground.
That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here.
Interesting. Well, unfortunately,
it doesn't
matter.
Last thing before we stop it, we talked about how we tried to somewhat commit to the run. That's a good looking running formation. We saw more of that with Shane Waldron actually than with Ryan Grubb. So it was interesting to see that. But we'll go ahead and move on to play 2 just for efficiency's sake. And somebody mentioned Geno missing wide open guys. Well, I feel bad because Geno really should have more time in the pocket, especially when he's got only 5 blockers, which is part of this spread offense, right? It's a huge part of the spread offense. And it begs the question if we're going to have to start keeping more people back, but that limits our passing game. So it's part of the glaring problem with this offensive line. This is going to be an underneath route from shallow cross from Metcalf. I can't remember what Lockett does, but I do know that Smith and Jigba does come up here. Obvious zone look for the Niners. And it's a typical This is a route tree that you see similar a lot in college. So again, part of that pro style offense that Grubb brings over is a lot of trip sets. You got to have 7-man on the line, right, for a legal formation. And it's a lot of pro trip sets that we're gonna see, and a lot of routes that are just gonna have overlapping and interlapping, especially when you have looks like that from the defense, where you have essentially a quarter, essentially a triangle there. And we'll see here. Charbonnet comes in. He does the chip. 5 protectors. Lockett runs across. He runs it out, right? And if Geno has more time, because Nick Bosa, I mean, he's not going to get sacked. But Nick Bosa, I mean, he's the cave is quickly collapsing.
Yeah.
The zone of ambiguity for him is quickly it's they're covering right over him, and for an extension point, it's blocking the view, it's blocking everything. The Niners defense gets beat right then and there.
Look at Njigba, JSN streaking down the right sideline.
That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. All the way. And if Geno has more time, he sees it too. He sees it, but he knows that if he winds up to put a throw into that, he wants to put a perfect throw on Smith-Njigba, right? If he winds up, he risks getting that ball stripped, he risks getting sacked, he risks the turnover. So instead, he fires a dart into Metcalf, which, I mean, it ends up resulting in a big play, right? This drive results in nothing because of the interception 4 or 5 plays later. But it's something that, you know, to say that this offense is having success, but this offensive line needs to protect better, because we could have greater success we could have more success at a bigger number than what we're having at right now. This is just maybe to compliment.
He's right in his lap practically.
Right in his lap, and he throws a dart, tries to get it out as quickly as possible to Metcalf. And so, yeah,
sometimes I wonder what it's like in the offensive line meeting room when they're all like, okay, let's take a look at the tape. And everyone's looking at Stone Forsythe going,
that's not well, I mean, you're in a team. Right?
What does he say? Sorry, guys. I'm doing the best I can, but I suck. It's like, man, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
It's like you're stuck with what you got, you know? I don't know. How do you buy more time? How do you get more time? You know, throw Jason Peters in there, you know? Oh, man. But anyway, next play. Sad stuff.
Yeah. So one thing that I think the defense, I'm going to get hate.
This after the interception, right? The drive after the interception.
Yeah. I am going to get so much hate for this. Mafe is playing our, I want to say, Sam. This is our Will and Mike. One thing I think our defense did really good, and what ended up the Niners ended up running away from in the second half was, and I think it's been actually a good look for us all season. We have defended the interior run, so essentially inside these A and B gaps, very well. We did it very well in this game. I thought we did. I thought we defended the interior run. When it comes looking back to film, very well. And the Niners do something that's really well, better than any team in football, is they run the ball very well on the outside. And what we didn't do well, and what was impossible, and what ended up being the death of us, was the outside run. We defended the interior. That was the highlight of the defense. Essentially, we defended the interior run very, very well. So you'll see here, Kittle's in motion, like I signaled. They'll tight end the running tight end in motion. Love comes up because he knows his assignment now has gone into a blocking mode, and it's a pitch, right? And everybody's holding contain. We're gonna make sure nobody over contains. Just cut it right back up and burst through those gaps. Jenkins takes a terrible angle to the ball. Boya Mafe is the fastest player. He shoves off Trey Brown and makes a tackle. But
ugly.
We go back to it, and it doesn't matter if you. It doesn't. Go ahead, Abel. Go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when my dad was at the game, we kind of texted each other at the same exact time, saying Devin Witherspoon was like pretty much the only person that like stopped the touchdown. Like, there, he pretty much saved a touchdown if you see it. Like, if he doesn't chase Mason down and he doesn't give him that angle, then he could go all the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just the Niners can beat you in this so easily because, one, their offensive linemen are good enough to where they can either make you over contain, essentially try and guard the sideline and then open up the middle of the field, or they can make you under contain and open up the sideline while you're trying to guard the middle of the field. And this is some exactly bad tackle as well. This is something that we couldn't stop. We couldn't stop. It was something that I knew going into that last drive that we were not going to be, that they were going to obviously go after and exploit. So that was really bad. This next play might be.
Let me ask you guys something. So, having seen that and knowing they're going to do it to us again later on at the end of the game when we really need to get a stop, right? That big 70-yard run or whatever they got. So, how do we fix that? Do we have the right guys and they're just not disciplined enough to stay when they need to do? Is it just bad tackling? Is it guys not getting off their blocks, or is it like
it was in a too high? We're in a too high safety look there. If we know they're going to run the ball, we should have a safety up. We should have a single high safety, and we should have someone up. We should have essentially 4 linebackers, and the rest should be essentially prepared to stop the run. It should be an all-out stop the run, right? That's what we did against the Giants on that last drive, and it worked out pretty well for us. But a too high safety look on that it's not acceptable. Even if they're preparing to run. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, no, I mean you're giving up kind of that middle chunk of the field until you get to the reinforcements.
Yeah, we keep seeing a lot of bad gaps like that ever since really the Giants game. I mean, rushing and just busting through for 10, 15, 20 yards.
Bad gaps too, but we got out blocked. I mean, their front 5 the entire game. They bullied us, and we've seen it the last really 3 years against the Niners where they've just outbeat us on the front. I mean, they're blockers, and they, in a sense, it's what Jose was saying, kind of bad angles. You were saying the zone concept in the double high safety look, but it's also, I mean, they're forging their own way in a lot of these plays, and so I think it can kind of be a little bit of both, where it's the X's and O's and the Jimmies and Joes.
Yeah. Well,
love your content.
Yes, thank you, the Kletchers. Also, A-Fizzle Productions. I think A-Fizzle is here. I know he's a Falcons fan, friend of Sports Live in the ATL, who I did a collab with earlier today, and we'll be live streaming in sync on Sunday to watch the game at the same time. So, A-Fizzle, thanks for coming to the channel. We are going to talk about the Atlanta game after we get into this misery here. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, they got to. You're not going to be able to reinvent and just generate a whole new offensive line. So they're going to have to find something, knowing what their weaknesses are. They got to figure out some way to address it schematically, because we're stuck with the Jimmies and the Joes. We did get that new guy. Yeah. What's his name? The guy we traded for. What's it? Roy
Johnson. I think it was Johnson.
Roy Robertson.
It's one of those hyphenated names. Roy Robertson Harris. Yeah,
that's it.
He's a defensive tackle / defensive end for the Jags. Undrafted dude, but he's actually been pretty productive the last couple of years. We'll see if he can help. Obviously, it's not a good sign when but we got to do it, right?
Yeah.
The trade deadline's coming up, so they're obviously trying to address the holes that we have. It's a little concerning what that means. I hope we can get Murphy back. This move doesn't exactly instill a lot of confidence that he will be back in time, but we'll see. We definitely need more bodies in there.
I will say, kind of in past years where the Seahawks have had a glaring problem, what are we, 6 weeks in now, and kind of not made moves to address it, I do like seeing them at least making a trade, getting a guy in here, a fresh body, that can fill a hole. We have injuries, but we also have a problem in run defense too. Roy Robertson Harris, I was reading up on him. He was kind of praised in his run defense a little bit. So, I'm glad to see him kind of out there making the moves to go try and get improvements.
Yeah. Since we're on the subject, let me just kind of address this real quick. And A Fizzle, sorry, I called you an Atlanta Falcons fan. He's actually a Broncos fan, so my bad. I thought you were in Atlanta. My bad. Really quick here. Let me just point out here if you can see some of this. So just looking at some of his past stats, look at this here. First of all, 17 games in 2022, probably his best year. 17 games out of 17, so dude's reliable. Last year, 17 games started and played in. 3 sacks in 22, 3.5 sacks last year, 45 combined tackles, 28 solo, 34 last year and 16. 2 sacks already this season with the Jags. I mean, the guy's productive, and he's pretty consistent with at least being on the field, which is something right now we're struggling just to get guys on the field, for crying out loud. So that's definitely a positive right there. So,
I was gonna tap in on that because he seems like. Well, first of all, we only got him for a 6th-round pick, and I think he's a guy to where when we do have these injuries, pardon me, with like Byron Murphy and earlier on Leonard Williams. He is a guy that we've seen that could produce. I mean, he looks good this year. 3 sacks for like the past 3 years and already 2 this year. So I'm kind of excited to see what he could do. I think he could, not make a crazy impact, but do something for this team. And hopefully we see a lot from him.
Yeah. To answer Cheryl's question, I'm not going to the game. I'm going to be live streaming it from inside the studio with David, Sports Live in the ATL, as he's streaming from his place. A lot of hate going on in the chat right now about John Schneider, saying he needs to be fired too because he's had some bad draft choices. Someone said he don't know what are trying to draft for the line. He did try to dress the line, right?
I don't know what
Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, but Abe Lucas didn't know about his knee problem.
John Schneider hasn't had a bad draft in the past 2.5 years. I don't think.
Well, I mean, he's not batting 1,000, and nobody ever does, right? You're trying to avoid the big, complete, bust. You don't want to have the guy who's a bust, like a first round pick who just completely, fails, right? We haven't had that, but we have tried to address the offensive line, and we've got one guy to work out, the other one not so good. Center Oluwatimi, I don't know what happened to him. He hasn't seen the field. But again, he was kind of a later round pick too. So, tough one.
I was expecting Oluwatimi to start this year, but we went out and got Connor Williams. We're on a 3rd string right tackle, so I mean, you're not What are you expecting? Something special? Like you're expecting him to come out and part the sea and all that, and just make it the most beautiful, surprising thing? He can't do that. I mean, and Bradford's in a sophomore slump right now, pretty much, and we weren't expecting Kansas City levels of offense here, Kansas City level offensive line play from these guys. Cross has been solid this year. He hasn't been terrible. Our Tomlinson has been. It seems to be he's a whiff. Connor Williams has been a whiff, but I didn't think Connor Williams should have been starting from the beginning of the year. And Bradford was the expectation last year. Did he do good? Yeah. So the expectation is that this is going to translate. And then now we're on a 3rd string right tackle. So the problems are there, but I don't think this is a decisional based issue. Maybe those 2 guys, but and maybe because I disagree on the center. But that's what you have to expect there. We have to start developing Sam Howell. This is not a Geno problem either. I mean,
I left that up there so you can.
It's not a Geno. It's not a Geno problem either. Just because Geno comes out and throws 2 interceptions, I mean, if he did that exactly the same thing and the score was flipped, we wouldn't have a problem with it.
Right.
So it's Christian Haynes probably should. I think
what happened to him? Nothing's happened to him. He's getting rotated in with Bradford. But he's a rookie, and
I thought he was still Haynes.
He'd be able to jump in there, but he's a different Haynes.
We need Reese Odiambo back, man. We need Reese Odiambo and Ode Abushi back. Real ones know those guys. We need Mark Glowinski, Luke Jokel. Nick Novak,
Joey Hunt.
Wait, we're talking about centers or guards?
Samuel Jean-Pierre, Alvin Bailey. Bring those guys back.
Well,
Russell Okung.
it's
Go ahead.
crazy.
Abel.
It's crazy
Abel, go ahead.
because QBs, they're always having to take the blame. And it can be an atrocious O-line. It could be receivers not getting open or receivers not running sharp routes and letting the DB jump the route. Or it could be the run game not working. Regardless, at the end of the day, the QB really just takes on everything. And especially nowadays in the NFL, a lot of people, they only look at the stats, right? So if you see Geno Smith with 2 interceptions and like 4 sacks, you immediately think, oh, he just had a bad day. But, if there's pass rush and the guy's getting hit every other throw as he throws, then it's like you can't always blame it on him. So it's just hard to – you have to put it into context before you judge him. Well, this game wasn't a good game. But.
Yeah, great flow. Come on, man. We just saw a play earlier of what Geno still was able to do with a collapsing pocket and a wide open guy down the right sideline. There was nothing he could do.
Grid Flow should go watch Patrick Mahomes in his Super Bowl when he played against the Bucs.
Yeah,
and then
it's
come back and comment. I mean, you have a great quarterback there in Patrick Mahomes and really a good team. Chiefs' offensive line was plug and play. It was, kind of bandaged up, and they got absolutely killed in the Super Bowl. And I wouldn't go to say that, Patrick Mahomes isn't a great quarterback for avoiding sacks. You can't expect Geno to do a whole lot with 2.6 average seconds, and that was last week. It's probably gone down since. So, no, I mean, and I will address kind of the John Schneider thing. We're in a new era. I mean, this is the first year of a rookie head coach, a rookie offensive coordinator, or rookie defensive coordinator. It's going to take time. For a lot of teams, it's the 3-year mark. I think we have a jump start on that just because of, the years before Mike McDonald and having John Schneider still here. But it's still not perfect. It's going to take time. So we just, it's a patient game, and it's not going to happen all at once. And that's kind of part of the rewarding factor is waiting and struggling through those losses, those bad seasons. It just makes the good ones even better.
I got to address Monsoon. Very respect to Abel, asking how old he was. Abel is 12. Made an appearance on ESPN, though, when he was 5, since his uncle is sorry, what's his name again? His name's
Kenny Mayne.
Kenny Mayne is his uncle, by the way, so he's no stranger around the sports diagnostic side of the ball. Yes, very knowledgeable. Don't let his young age fool you. This show, my collaboration with these guys are it's like get them while they're rookies, and then by the time they, like these guys now, these seasoned vets, Nick LaBow and Sky-High Aviation, they joined the show when they were little kids, and now look at them breaking things down like pros. But yeah, what there's not something about to deal with till next year, but big questions are looming because 2 contracts, mega contracts, are hanging in the balance come next year. Geno, an extension. And DK Metcalf, do you make him a $100 million receiver? That's going to be a question that's going to have to be asked by the coach.
No, we're for
John
sure
Schneider.
paying DK. There's no doubt about it. I think that's why we have $12 million in cap space right now, and we're not receding to spend it. There's something. There's clearly a plan somewhere to pay DK. Geno,
we got
I'm not
a lot
sure.
of players to pay.
But yeah.
I mean, we're getting up to where not even this next offseason, but the one after that, I mean, it's that big draft class we had, the Reek Wolin, the Ken Walker, DK's up that year, Geno's up that year. So
Brady had a good offensive line.
I was about to say.
He never had it. His offensive line was the same from the early 2000s to the 2000, all the way to like 2012. He had the same offensive line.
Okay, I have to say one thing.
Let's hit Monsoon's comment. Let's get that up here.
About what, Nick? And Nick hit both Unk status. Let's go. Unk.
Okay.
All right, Abel, what you got?
All in time.
I'm just saying, if I see one more person in the chat say, oh, he wasn't alive for the Legion of Boom, he doesn't even remember the Super Bowl we won. First of all, my dad was actually at the Super Bowl. I hear stories every other month. I've seen the game, the full game highlights, like the full game in general. I've just watched it like a good 15 times. I probably know like the majority of how we scored in that game, and I don't want to it's not it's not when you're not born in the right time that you're not a real fan. If you weren't alive during the Legion of Boom, that doesn't mean you're not a real fan. Like, I don't understand that.
Preach. Yeah. What do you expect? Like 30 years from now, you weren't alive during the Legion of Boom. You're not a fan. God forbid we don't win another Super Bowl in the next 30 years.
Yeah, right. You don't have to explain yourself, man. I mean, the reality is, the reason you're on this show is because I was impressed by you. You were just doing a call-in. I was doing a post-Giants call-in, I think, and you called in. I was like, this kid knows what he's talking about. I got to have him on the show, and that's how you ended up on here. So it was your knowledge enough impressed me to feeling like you'd be part of this panel. Would be a good addition. So yeah, you're fine, man. You're good. So
the next generation.
That's right.
And we got to put the next generation here at some point, you know.
All right. Speaking of the next generation, let's talk about the next generation of bad plays. Let's go to the screen.
Yeah. Tyler Parcher takes over for NorbFam when he retires. I mean, it's going to be good. You're going to see this thing go next level. All right, this might have been the if you can remember what the previous play was. This play, bank on it, it's worse. This is our pattern here. It's going to be somewhat of almost like a fake screen to really draw the defender in, and then draw the defenders in and have someone kind of break out over here. Our safety's going to drop back. It's going to be a crosser, so just kind of move everybody away. And the whole idea is to hit the man up here with the go pattern, or seam pattern. Why did he say that? It's probably what Brock Purdy sounds like. Comes back for the trap block, misses. Purdy misses. Boye Mafe. Looks like he almost falls for the bait. Brock Purdy sees that. And, I'm thinking to myself, oh, crap, he's wide open. And then I see Julian Love come flying down like a hawk. Like that. He comes flying down to hopefully prevent Mafe's dangerous mistake. Oh, no. He's going to do it. Oh, crap. I restarted.
Good.
Edited for television.
He's going to make the glorious hit.
Talk about a whiff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They beat us on this play, and we still had an opportunity. And, I mean, I get Samuel at the last moment adjusts his hips and goes from moving in a sideline direction back towards the middle of the field. So he adjusts that just so that way to make it that much harder. But I think Love, the entire time, I don't know what he's watching.
You know what it reminds me of? Remember that play between, I think it was the Vikings and the Saints? I remember that play, the last-minute miracle catch. I forgot who the receiver is. But he catches the ball, and the Saints guy just kind of dives at his feet or something and misses, completely whiffs. Not unlike this play, and scores the touchdown. Totally felt like that, except the opposite direction.
Or, you can keep going. I was going to say, when Stephon Diggs caught that,
Diggs.
Even then, it's some part of it is just lack of discipline, because you see on the last one, the guy or on the miracle play, he just wants to lay a lick on Diggs. He's not going for the actual tackle. And on this one, that's a lack of tackling. I mean, that's kind of the only way to sum it up at that point.
Yeah, this was I was waiting for him to light him up. I thought he was going to go Cam Chancellor on Vernon Davis kind of thing, right? And then instead it's like swing and a miss. Yeah, that was brutal. And you know what? I don't know. Boye Mafe on Deebo Samuel. I mean, he caught up. I almost caught up to him in there, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like that matchup. Do you guys like that matchup, Boye Mafe and Deebo Samuel?
No.
All day long, you're not going to win that race.
Yeah, it literally felt like every other play was Boye Mafe chasing down their fastest guys.
Yeah, maybe Deebo's blocking.
Reminds me of Benson Mayoa being dropped into coverage.
Yeah.
And it didn't help. Remember, and I don't remember. I can't remember if it was at this point, but we were down 3 corners, right? We lost. We had Reek Woolen was already out, and then we lost Artie Burns, who had just gotten back from the practice squad, and then Trey Brown goes down. Not like he was my favorite corner of all time, But we were missing 3 guys. I don't even know who was left at that point. We were like starting to run out of dudes in the secondary. So that was not a good thing.
Pritchett's been pretty decent. But I like Pritchett.
All right, so let's keep this train running.
And that thug scores his touchdown and all that. All right.
Man, PTSD. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Next play. La 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 la. All right. I forget what happens in this play.
Something good or something bad?
Hold up. I'm just trying to
Felt like mostly good happened this direction. All the bad happened the other direction.
Oh yeah. Okay. I can understand. It's our racist offensive line once again. I don't know why, honestly. I don't know why we line. It's our spread offense, right? It's a pro-style spread offense. But I just don't know why we have the balls to line up in a 5-man look, offensive line look, and then decide to run a long developing route tree. That is, I mean, this works. This works as a play, but we have a terrible offensive line.
Yeah.
Which forces Gino to force us off his back foot, not really step into the throw, and DK Metcalf.
Oh yeah, that should have been a touchdown.
I mean, it should have been a touchdown. He had to stop his body, tried to come back to the ball, and you'll see it here. Ken Walker just disappears. He doesn't even chip. He just disappears and leaves Anthony Bradford right side to get manhandled. Completely, because if they hold serve here, Gino steps up, touchdown, right? And he steps up right through the A gap, touchdown. I mean,
Bosa's coming at Gino extra hard too.
You know it, Nick. He does it for about 2/3 of quarterbacks in this league. He goes extra hard on him, and I don't understand that. But that's Nick Bosa's vendetta. He is just so good at what he does. We saw They talked about it in the game. They talked about it how Bosa does some special formation to try and or some special way that he lines up to get faster off the line. It was just, it's brutal. It's brutal. I don't even want to talk about it. Let's move on to the next play. It was just brutal to watch. Oh, look at this.
Okay, something better, I think.
Something better. This is where the tide changed, The tide changed. So we talked about it in the first play, right? Shenault is the man. Williams will always go to the opposite side to which Shenault goes, just to draw that defender, which would allow our guys to hitch a block here, create some natural gaps, and to create a one-on-one opportunity. Question, should we trade DK? No. Guys! No!
Everybody's such a knee-jerk reaction. I don't think I've ever, I don't know, maybe it's just a sign of the immediate satisfaction, immediate gratification society we live in now. But everybody wants to fix everything right now. Don't like you? Get rid of it.
Metcalf can outrun and catch over pretty much 3/4 of all defenders in the league. And you think we should trade that? If anything, we should. You guys also are going crazy about Gino. Once we do get a QB, you're going to want a guy like Geno Smith. Like JSN, obviously he's an upcoming star, but he's no DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is a once-in-a-decade type of player. It's crazy.
And not to mention, even when he's not the one making the plays, he draws so much attention. He does open it up for the other players. Again, we just need more time so our quarterback can actually distribute the ball and not be running for his life the entire game.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think
let's see this good play here. This was a great play.
Going to create a natural 1v1, and we see that Shenault's going to go to the weak side of the field because these two guys have yet to hitch a block, and he's got the most space out here. So he comes up, Williams comes out, he just cuts right in. And I talked about 1v1, right? There's the 1v1 right there. And this time our guys execute their blocks perfectly. and nobody's able to get a real clean look at him. And there you go. He breaks away down the sideline. Can he get that third gear? He can. Touchdown. It gets so loud in this building that the camera starts to shake. You see people's hands throwing in the air. Touchdown. We'll get a better look at this. Go ahead, Nick.
He did such a good job of turning on that second gear. I mean, he had a guy angling right on him. He just, yeah. And that's the loudest I've heard it in there in too long.
They went crazy. We were all going crazy.
And you see the cook. D. Williams is looking right at the kick, and he knows exactly where to run. Boom. He takes up that space because people think, well, why not? He's the lead blocker. Why wouldn't Shenault follow him out over there, right? Why wouldn't Shenault follow him? Well, what you're doing is, these guys are hitching their blocks correctly here. You're creating that perfect one-on-one opportunity for him to, I mean, he's juking him 10 yards away. Drop him right to his feet.
There's the kicker.
And then he's got open grass. He doesn't have to worry about people. Turn it on. Boom. And
Shout out to Saijan with the super chat. Asks, what do we need to do to right the ship, both defensively and offensively? Well, we're kind of trying to figure that out as we go along here. It's a lot of things to fix, man. It's like your analogy of a ship is a good one, except this ship is has a lot of holes and it's sinking. We got only so much glue and adhesive to patch up those holes. That's the problem we have. But we'll get into that. All right, next play. Great observation. I love how he broke down how he doesn't follow the lead blocker or his return partner. Instead goes the opposite, because that totally is what happened the first time. This time it just worked because they got the one-on-one.
Spread offense at its finest, right? Spread everybody out. Another 5-man protection. 2 possible blitzers. This is our first prime vision all-22 of the season. If you were here last year, you remember a lot of our plays against the Cowboys when we looked at them we were in prime vision. This is a great play design. Great play design, great call from Ryan Grubb. He sees single high safeties. It really spread everybody out. What you're going to do, run an in-break and go up here. Smith-Njigba's so good with his footwork, you can just have him come over the middle in the event that they blitz. Receivers blitz, have him run a curl, and have Lockett run up the seam. This is a really good, smart play idea because you're almost guaranteeing that you can either, one, have your 2 best one-on-one guys have the opportunity to get the ball, or you can have your guy your best footwork guy over the middle, the most savvy wide receiver. Wow, somebody's got a loud car in the background. Underneath for the first down, and it's a 3rd and 8, right? I think we've done a decent job actually on 3rd down this year, and we'll see that evident here. Run those curls. Smith-Njigba's open, but Gino decides to drop it in the bucket for Lockett, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure Sam Howell can make this throw on time and perfectly, and we've seen him do it time and time again. Gino can drop perfect, beautiful deep balls when he's got time, because guess what? They blitz, but our line holds up this time.
Mm-hmm.
Our line actually see what can actually happen when our line is able to hold up and not give Gino plenty of time. He drops it in the bucket for Tyler, and the second best Tyler in the Pacific Northwest makes a beautiful play again. And just ball out right there. Shepp's kid.
Number one.
We know who's number one.
You know what I loved about that play, watching that as the ball was going through the air, and I was watching Lockett down the field. I saw Lockett put on the little afterburners, man, because he was kind of like step for step with the defender, and then he just kind of put on extra gear and kind of got separation. It's like he saw that ball and it's like his natural instinct kicked in. It's like, ooh, gotta get there. And he just turned it on another jet and got that thing. That was a great play.
In my opinion, Tyler Lockett might be the most reliable wide receiver on our team.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I think so easy.
DK's probably the most explosive. Tyler Lockett's the most reliable, and Jason's, he's just upcoming. He'll find his label.
Yeah, I like our receiving core.
I really do.
I like it.
Got Bobo,
and tight ends.
too.
We got the weapons. Again, it's not it's not the weapons, and it's not the guy distributing the football. It's the other big picket fence that's holding this protection. That is the shortcoming to this offense.
It's not really a picket fence. It's just a swinging gate that's wide open.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's always one gate. It's like a picket fence, but there's boards missing. And there's always one. There's always one that the dog's going to be able to get through. It's like, imagine a bunch of rabid dogs and you're hiding behind a picket fence to protect you from it, and there's always one hole. And the dog's going to get through, and you just got to go, God, don't bite me, and try to escape with your life. It's a good analogy. Poor Gino, being chased out by rabid dogs hiding behind a picket fence. All right, next play.
Rabid dog of Nick Bosa just chasing violently down. It's just... what a dangerous rhetoric that man has.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
This is.
Oh no! We were doing so good.
We had so much going for us at this stage of the game.
This stage of the game, I thought we were going to win. I was like,
go ahead, touchdown, imminent.
And it's because the Niners kept blowing leads before our game too.
Yeah. They gave up 10 to the Cardinals the week before.
So yeah, I think first of all, this is one. It's a bit of a lousy route from DK. First of all, because it's a 25-yard in. It's a lousier throw from Gino. Haters will go ahead and hate us for that, but it's going to be a double cross for Smith-Njigba and Gino. And right then and there, Gino can throw the ball.
Yeah,
but he's got people in his face again. Step up. If he's going to throw the ball now, he needs to DK's lateral, right? DK's lateral in his pattern. He honestly could have hit Smith-Njigba, but the sticks are right here. We're far away. He's got to take a risk. If he's gonna make this throw, he has to put it up where the defender can't get it, and that's up in the air, because the defender now has twisted his hips perfectly in a position to cut this off if it's a line drive, if it's a line drive throw. And that's exactly what it is, because if it theoretically, if Gino puts it up, Metcalf's got plenty of space right here, right? He's got plenty of space to step up and go. And we'll see here that DK, he sees it and it just gets stepped right in front. And
that was a missed opportunity. It's tough because I think it was only first or second down, wasn't it? We weren't in like a desperate situation here, like he had to get rid of it or anything.
Yeah, DK flat pancakes some dude, and at that point I was like, "Yep, I could have guessed that was going to happen."
So, but looking back at that, so you're saying you're blaming DK, you're blaming Gino, not DK, for that one?
I am blaming Gino for that one. That was a poorly thrown ball. He should have thrown it either earlier or put it in a better position.
I agree.
I don't know. I think they both contributed to it. Because look, DK's, I can't see it. Well, maybe you can when he gets to the picture. Okay, look, right, stop right there. DK has a step on the defender, and he's got inside leverage. If he keeps his route cut, that defender, at best he could try to do is maybe go over his shoulder and try to knock it down. But there's no way he should cut in front of him. But the problem is DK starts to go upfield, and Gino's thinking he's going to continue his flat angle, which this should just be a catch and a gain of 15, 20 yards or something. Problem is he goes upfield. Gino thinks he's going across, and then the worst case happens, and the defender undercuts the route. It was a lack of communication as opposed to a poor throw, in my opinion, in watching how that was, because
I think
it was just a bad matchup between where DK thought where he was going to go with the ball and where he actually went with it.
The throw could have been better. I think if the throw was executed, then that is a gain. I think, you're right in the way that it is also miscommunication, because Metcalf could have kept running the flat route instead of going upfield. But, it's funny because at that play, I thought originally, because on the TV, originally I thought he was going upfield, and I thought Gino just underthrew him. But, when you see this kind of angle, it's like harder to only blame Gino, but I still think Gino could have thrown a better ball there.
Well, you know what I think happened is that DK is looking back and he sees Gino kind of stepping up in the pocket, and it starts almost becoming like a scramble drill. And of course, whenever it's a scramble drill, you know what those receivers are told to do.
Yeah.
Get upfield, right? Get beyond the secondary and just wing it, get it up there. And I think that's what happened. Geno was breaking the pocket, and DK thought, "Oh, scramble! He's gonna right here. He's gonna step up. I think he thinks he's gonna step up in the pocket and start doing the scramble drill. But Geno's thinking he's still gonna keep on his route. And I think it's just like the two things happening at the worst possible time.
I could agree with that.
In my opinion. In
your opinion, of course.
Anyway, only those guys would know, but
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure they talked about it in their Monday or the day after,
I would
whenever
hope
they
so.
did their film review. Yeah, grid flow. Blame both. All right. Yeah, that was the backbreaker of the game. I mean, that one really kind of ended the comeback potential. Yeah, they had chances later on, but really that was the prime moment where they had everything going for them, and it's unfortunate that play happened when it did.
Yeah.
All right. Can it get any worse? Yes, it can. Actually, there was a positive play after this. We did score a touchdown. But
That might have been the worst one. After
that was definitely the worst one.
All right, we'll go to our next Prime
This is a
Vision
good
play. Prime Vision. I thought, oh my gosh, 4th down and goal from the 9. Hell no, get me out of here. End this game already. End me already. This game sucks. Just caught. 4th down and goal. This is again, Lockett being a really savvy, good wide receiver, using his speed, using his quickness. Converts the outside, runs a quick little spinning curl. Touchdown. Give us a chance, right?
That was pretty clutch.
Reliable.
That's 4th down. That was 4th down. I mean,
And
you're on
Geno
life
gets
support
rid of
there.
it in just the amount of time, and you get it to your best ball catcher right there. Lockett. Yay! Let me do my snowmobile, whatever the heck it's called. I'm like
Snow Angel.
Snow Angel. I'm gonna
And
lost.
and you're leaving out a big chunk of the pie here, because had you shown the play where DK got the touchdown and
Oh God.
we got illegal shift, I mean, we would have scored this touchdown like 3 minutes earlier. It would have been like 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, that would have been.
At $1:45 left. It's tough to win a game when you're still behind 2 scores with $1:45. Anyway, it's unfortunate that all again other stories of bad plays that happened, but yeah, this was a good one. Good route by DK.
Route.
Lockett.
Good play concept. And now let's get to.
Oh shoot.
And we got to keep our timing, Matt, right? Don't you have a hard out at 7:30 or 10:30?
I do,
Eastern?
yeah.
And we only got 20 minutes left, so we got to speed this up. Let's go through this quick now.
Yeah. Let's get through this quick because this was the backbreaker for us. I talked about how we defended the inside run really well all day. Well, guess what? The Niners, what do? They play to your weaknesses, as a good team should. Play to your weakness. All right. Well, I think that the man in motion might signal that there's something a little more interesting going on in here, right? Maybe they're running it to the other side. Nope. Signal the man in motion. 2 deep safety look. Love comes up on the wrong side. Right then and there, it's a straight handoff. Let me get my pen out. Straight handoff here. And it looks originally like we might have this plugged up pretty well, right? Baker reads his gap well. Love's got his eyes over here. Jenkins might come up here to clog this gap. Well, guess what?
Look at Jenkins' angle, though. Look at Jenkins' angle here.
Jenkins angle 1. Baker just gets pushed out of the way. I mean, you can't even tell where he is in this play anymore.
And that happens
Boom,
a lot.
Garendo.
Boom.
Garendo just.
That looks
oh
like
my
Super
God.
Bowl 40 right there. If you guys
Yeah.
remember that play that started out the second half
Willie
of Super Bowl
Parker.
40. Yeah.
Yeah.
And play 11 is it's a different angle.
Nice hustle play by
So-
Devin Witherspoon again to make that tackle. Not that it
You know,
mattered.
Yeah,
But-
on that one too. One thing that I noticed, kind of originally,
Actually,
that
real quick, it did matter because if they had held them to a field goal, it would have been a.
Yeah,
We would have.
no.
It
it would have
ahead,
still
Abe.
been a 1-score game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the interesting thing here too, though, is in this situation in the game, we're kind of in a position, and this is for most teams in this situation, you really kind of need to hold them to like 3 or less yards. Because if they get 5 yards on 1st down in this situation, they're already set up in a position to most likely get a 1st down. And you'll see at point of contact, they already have like 5 yards. So that plus momentum, it's just like kind of set up for failure after he gets through that gap. Because, again, Jenkins doesn't have the angle, right? So, at that point, it's just, like, he's off to the races.
No doubt.
And right. And these guys' job is, well, they've been looking at the film on the Microsoft Surface tablets, brought to you by Microsoft, of course. They've been looking at them, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, they're gonna run. They've been running outside, and they've been busting their ass all day on the outside the hash marks. There's no reason to not expect that a run would not be here, but instead we have the overcommitment. The A gap is plugged up, cleaned up well, and it opens up the B gap perfectly for Garendo to essentially seal it. And we'll see here, Baker gets plugged because he overcommits, and he's just thin enough. Hankins isn't quick enough or strong enough to push him back through there, and he just Jenkins sets his feet far too late.
Terrible angle.
Thinking. Yeah. That he's going to come through through the A gap, and instead he goes down the sideline. Shanahan puts his hands in the air. Game over. Yay, yay, yay. So that was a heartbreak.
And was that our last play?
That is our last play, Greg.
Okay, all right. And really, at that point, it wasn't even about the scoring. It was the clock. If they got a first down, the game was over. So they were going to win it with that play regardless if they scored a touchdown or not. It was just like they had to get like a negative play there and try to hope the clock, they have enough timeouts to try to make it close.
Uh-oh.
But well, he'll be back. All right, so in 17 minutes, we got to try to get through a quick overview of the Falcons, do our score prediction review, and get score predictions. All right, so we got to move quick here. While Sky-High's getting back on here, Abel, let's start with you. Just give me your thoughts on what's going to take to try to beat the Falcons on Sunday. Tough road ahead here. No score prediction, just your overview of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Traveling into Atlanta, tough atmosphere. I think it's going to come down to, again, limiting the explosive plays. It's one thing that we've had trouble with over the last 3 weeks. Changes all the momentum. I think we got to keep this game in our hands, and we can't let it get away from us. We have to... I used to hate this way of thinking of, I hated this mindset, but I think we're starting to come into a position with our defense that is kind of like bend, don't break, because at this point, we're giving up too many plays. So I think if you, keep control of this game and you make sure to kind of establish the running game and make sure Kenneth Walker can get going, that's probably the key to winning, most of all. First of all, Kenneth Walker. We need to establish him. He needs to be a weapon in this game that we can use and not average 2 yards a carry. So I think if the defense can not let Kirk Cousins tear us apart, and Kenneth Walker can establish his game, then I think we have a good shot at winning.
All right. Quick shout out to the super chat. Rouser says, "Do you remember the 27-7 almost comeback versus ATL?" I remember several almost comebacks that we've had against them. But
in the playoffs, the divisional.
There was a different score on the one in the divisional back in 2012 where Beast Mode got the go-ahead touchdown, and then we
still a comeback though.
Yeah, but that was a comeback.
Yeah.
We took the lead, and then we gave them the field goal that ultimately won the game for them in that 2012 divisional round. But anyway, we don't want to be behind. We do not want to be in a 27-7, have to come back because we are not exactly built that way to succeed. All right, let's go to Nick. Nick, your thoughts and keys to the game.
We need to set the tone. We can't have another game. The last two have been us playing behind. We got to play in front. Falcons are not an easy team. I mean, offensively, they're very smart. Defensively, you have Raheem Morris. You have a pretty good personnel lineup, especially in the secondary. So we need to play smart football. The run game has to get going. Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet, they have to have a productive morning, more than 32 yards. And Geno, again, it's smart football. The offensive line has to play way better. We didn't see a whole lot of plays, but we saw some plays where Geno had the protection, and it turned out pretty well. So we need to keep that going forward. sharpen up defensively, really get those tackles, better angles, limit their run game, because they do got, Bijan Robinson's not an easy task. And another thing is play disciplined football. We've had too many penalties. We saw it a lot Thursday night where, we maybe had some big plays, that touchdown to DK Metcalf. Oh, Kenneth Walker wasn't set. Oh, we had a holding penalty. We can't have that. We got to play smart. We have to play disciplined. That's how we win the game.
All right, Sky-High Aviation, keys to the game.
I think a few of the other guys hit it on the head, the nail on the head with it perfectly. We have to be disciplined. We have to play smart football. And I'd like to see specifically, us go into some power football looks, 13, 12 personnel, heavy personnel. We're going out there and saying, hey, we are going to run the football. That is what we're going to do. And we're going to beat you at it. And doing that and being successful, essentially coming out there and saying, you know what, we're going to run the football and we're going to do it better. That we're going to be better than you on the offensive side. So and then that'll transition into the passing game. I think this is a beatable Atlanta defense. I think that has some holes in it. And I think for the defense, I think it's all about getting back to what we're back to the beginning of the season, early season form. And that's staying disciplined in our gaps. That's being able to stop the outside run, being able to continue to defend the inside run well. And I'd like to see more man and less of a zone nickel defense that we've been running as of late, barring that everybody somewhat comes a bit is healthy into this game. So yeah, I'd like to see the run, a lot of running in this game, and transition into that pass. Hopefully, open it up into the second half. It's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a real close game, but I think this is a beatable Falcons team, especially with Kirk Cousins in the pocket at the helm. Look for him to possibly make some mistakes and look for us to hopefully capitalize. I'd like to see turnovers as well this week. It's been a while since we've had an interception and a real forced turnover that has impacted the game greatly.
Yep.
All right, well stated. There's a million keys to the game we could say. A lot of them are the same things you can copy paste from every week to week. But I'm going to go specific to this game and key to us beating this particular team on this particular day. First of all, hoping with fingers crossed that we get some of our guys back, namely Byron Murphy. I think having him in the middle is going to help out a lot with everybody. We were undefeated when Byron Murphy was in there. Since he's been out, we've lost every single game. Not to say he was the key to it, but he does help clog up the running lanes and add some extra pressure because he was doing that when he was in there. So I hope he can play. Obviously, want to get some more corners back because we were down 3 corners in this game. Hard to win when you're missing not just your starting corner, but 2 guys after that. It's especially against a guy who can put up 500 yards like Kirk Cousins can. Learning from what I did from David in Sports Live and the ATL, he told me that one of the things that the Falcons don't do particularly well is rush the quarterback. And I think he said they only have 5 sacks in the entire season. And that kind of got my mouth watering a little bit because that's our biggest issue. I feel like in this game, to win it, I think we're going to have to rely on Geno throwing the football. I'm not confident that we're going to just suddenly start running the football again. I feel like if they really can't get pressure consistently on Geno, we know Geno can throw for 400, almost 500, or almost through for 400 yards. I think he could do that. And if he's got the time, there are huge chunk plays that we have seen waiting to be had if he has an extra little second. And maybe they can capitalize on a weaker pass rush by the Falcons, and that will give Geno the time to hit those open plays that we've broken down on this show multiple times. Wide open touchdowns, wide open crossers that he just hasn't had the time for. Maybe these plays break free because he does have the extra time, and maybe the offensive linemen just for a second longer are just that much more motivated. That Stone Forsythe said, enough's enough. I'm tired of sucking. I'm not going to be a missing piece of wood in this picket fence. I'm going to hold my guy for 1 extra second, and that's going to give enough time for Geno to throw the hell out of the ball and make everybody who's been hating on him in all the comments and all the chats and all the everything that wants Geno benched, fired, traded, or otherwise to show that this guy can light up a scoreboard when he has to. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think we're going to have to rely on Geno Smith doing exactly what everybody thinks he's not capable of.
We can't difference in this game. We can't throw the ball. You don't think we're going to throw the ball 55 times, though, right? I mean,
I think we're going to throw at least 40.
I think we're going to.
All right, I'm okay with that, but 55
I
times.
don't want to, but I feel like we're going to have to because I just don't think anything else is just going to suddenly be fixed. So it's going to be a shootout, and Gino's going to have to outshoot the other team because if we're going to try to think we're going to keep this to a defensive battle, keep it a low score, ain't going to happen. All right, before we get to score predictions, let's take a look back one more time to last week's score predictions of the 49er game, and let's see what everybody had to say about what they thought was going to happen last week. Check it out.
Purdy takes the snap, play action, boom, gets hit hard by none other than Derek Hall, and the game ends. Seattle Seahawks win 28-26.
You got a slant to Ayuk, you got a slant to Deebo Samuel, and as he's throwing across the middle, it gets picked off by Devin Witherspoon. Seattle Seahawks win 24-20.
Gino drops back, pocket collapses. Nick Bosa plows through the interior with a spin move, knocks Gino to the ground, and we all get deflated, and we lose 24-21, and we drop to second place in the NFC West.
Brock Purdy on 4th down and 3. It's dropped by Deebo Samuel. And the Seahawks win 29-23.
Oh, man.
Well, somebody was right in this game, and I'm sorry that it had to be me.
Well.
But I had a feeling.
It's right, Nick.
But this is a new day, a new weekend, a new Sunday, a new renewed hope that something different and better can happen on Sunday. So let's go to the score predictions for the Seahawks-Falcons game on this early morning Sunday game. We'll start with Abel. Abel, what is your... Oh! Actually, before I do that, I almost forgot. I got to recognize my sponsor, BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Before we go to the thing here, I got to get to the BetUS login here.
Heck
All
yeah,
right, let's go.
BetUS, baby.
BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. The odds are, let's see what the odds are in this game. So if we go to all sports, you can bet on anything. You can bet on the election, believe it or not. All right, so let's go to find our game here in week 7. We go into football. We click game 7. We go down. Let's find it. Where is it? There it is. Seattle Seahawks, Falcons. Falcons getting a -3. The home team getting the 3-point favorites, which is really kind of a pick'em game because the home team automatically gets spotted 3 points anyway. So right now it's kind of an even pick'em game. So if you liked the Falcons to cover the spread, you would just click there. You'd put in your little amount here. $50 would get you 45 if you actually win it. And if you select or put in the code YouTube150, you'll get 150% matching on your first deposit and 125% on your next two. Up to $2,000. Make sure you gamble responsibly and make sure online gambling is legal in where you live. Okay,
Norb still has
that.
$2,000 to spend.
Because technically I can't online gamble from here. Notice I never actually placed my bet because I can't do it because they don't allow online gambling here.
That's a lie. No, catch him, feds. Catch him. Put him in jail. No.
I never actually placed a bet. I just perused the website and looked at the odds. All right. Just truth be told. Okay. Abel, let's start with your score prediction. We got 5 minutes to do it. Here we go. Abel, you're up.
It'll be a thriller. It'll be something that comes down to the leg of Younghoe Koo. The Falcons and Big Kirko Cousins will drive down the field. They get to the 40-yard line with about 7 seconds left. They have no timeouts left, and they don't want to risk anything crazy. So they send the field goal unit out. Younghoe Koo does this weird 2-step back, 1 step to the left thing. I don't know. He's weird with that. And he takes 1 deep breath. The center snaps the ball. The ball is up in the air. It's looking like down the middle. But it goes wide right. And the Seattle Seahawks take over with 2 seconds left. And they win 33-30.
You must enjoy theatricality. Norb, you're muted.
Wow. A tight game. The usually reliable kicker for Atlanta blows it for a Seahawk win. Okay. Nick LaBow, what you got?
Well, I'm going to be a little boring here, and I'm going to save a scenario for when we start winning games. I'm I got a 23-17 win for the Hawks. I think we get back on track. We can't lose 4 in a row.
Okay. Short and sweet. I'll go next because I got to always save Sky-High for the last word. All right. Not to get too dramatic in here, but not too different from Abel's scenario. It is a tight ball game. But this time it's the Seahawks who have a tie ball game with a ball in their hands inside of 2 minutes. A chance to win it. Unlike they failed against the Giants when they could have sent it to overtime. No, we're talking about a Jason Myers potential game-winning field goal. We get down the field. Big throw to DK Metcalf across the middle. He breaks a tackle, spins through. Oh no, put the ball away. He does. He tucks it in, gets to the 35-yard line. They rush up there. There's no time left, no timeouts. Gino spikes it with 3 seconds left on the clock, just in the nick of time. They rush Jason Myers out there. It's dead center of the field from 35. That makes it a 52-yard field goal. No wind inside that arena. The score is tied. Jason Myers, the hold. Jason Myers, the kick. End over end. It's going. Oh no, it's angling right. No, it comes back to the middle. And the Seahawks win on a field goal late by Jason Myers, 30-27. And they break the 3-game losing streak and leave Atlanta 4-3.
I love how delusional we are.
Me too. It's the best feeling.
All right. Sky-High Aviation, you're up.
Can you hear the music now?
Faintly.
Oh, as I disappear into this green screen, I tell you, the Hawks come into this game angry, mad, almost as mad as me, willing to crash out on an inferior opponent, and I believe inferior the Falcons are. You think of a Seahawk. A Seahawk flies. It goes through the air. Cue that video where Norb like this little thing. A Seahawk hunts its prey. It defeats its prey. It rips it to shreds. A Falcon. A similar opponent, unlike a Cardinal or an Eagle. Similar in size and stature. It's the next most worthy opponent of a Seahawk. But it's not worthy enough. A Seahawk and a Falcon, they can engage in such a glorious battle that it'll be rights and lefts. Touchdowns here and there. Field goals square and air. Big plays left and right. Turnovers are a fright. And I tell you what, Gino leads those Hawks into a big game with Kenneth Walker being the lead Hawk to take out those Falcons. And I'll tell you what, that Falcon will get bruised and battered in the trenches. He'll come out with his claws cut off and his head in our mouths. We will defeat the Atlanta Falcons by 6 points and a score of 33-27 as the Hawk comes home with its Falcons head ready to take on the Bills of Buffalo next. 27-33, I have to mention, as we get closer and closer to the battle of the Bills, which I'm really looking forward to. All right, yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. We need to win this game because I have a bet. I have a wager with Sports Live
with
the
Bet
ATL.
US.
No, not Bet US. It's not a money bet. But I'm gonna. One of us is gonna owe the other guy some kind of trophy to put on their case if their team loses. So I'm in it on this one. I'm gonna have to pay something. I'm gonna have to owe him something if it doesn't go my way. So we need the Seahawks to come through. We have the Seahawks to come through.
He's voting for him. He's not voting. He's betting. He's betting online. Fed, get him. I want
All right, real quick, just to throw some of the scores that are out there. Grid Flow says 27-24. Seahawks win after a 24-6 lead. Lizard 87, 37-13 Dirty Birds. 27-24 Hawks. Monsoon says. Hey, QQWW said the same score that it says 34-23, but they changed it. He changed it later. He had the same score as later as what you had, 33-27.
I like it. I like it.
He said
That's
same
healthy.
Score.
That's
right,
healthy.
Right.
That's healthy. I like that. That's healthy.
Yeah.
And Sajin says, Sky High, you should make a movie because he's scaring you legit.
Theatricality is what makes things interesting, man. You know, we are the 12th man. We are the loudest. Look at that.
Still gotta do that one.
Yeah,
Jeff Mathis, 24-21. Tyler P, 30-24. Seahawks. Rouser, 38-41.
Yeah, bro.
Falcons.
38. If that's the score, 38-41. I seriously might, 37-0.
37-0. That's more like it.
Yeah. What reality? Maybe if we were playing the Panthers.
Maybe if we
maybe we're playing the Browns.
Yeah. Browns are. And
all right.
The Browns to break out and their offense to break out against us. So.
All right. Well, 90 minutes. I know Sky High's got to go, so that wraps up the show. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're all optimistic that we're going to turn this thing around, but if we don't, man, 4-game losing streak, and then the Bills come to town. We're looking damn good right now. Josh Allen looked really impressive last night. Whew. So we got to get this one. We really need to get this one. All right. So that is it. Oh, a couple more scores in here. Fire. Oh, no, I said that one.
Heck yeah, throw it again.
54-50 Seahawks. Man, what is this? College? There's college scores right here? Man, no defense.
63
No
to
Diddy. Bro.
That's a no defense show. Can you imagine a ball game where the score is 54? It'd be like every play, every possession is a touchdown.
I'll tell you what, bro. Those players are probably wearing a lot of baby oil then in that case. You know what I mean? They're having the Diddy. They're having a freak off in Mercedes.
Oh no, we don't want to go there without the freak offs. Faruga, 30-24 Seahawks. All right. Well, that's it.
If anyone in their free time ever wants to watch a football game, watch the Fiesta Bowl, Sooners versus Boise State Broncos. Just remembered that.
I've seen that. I've seen the highlights of the game. That was kind of crazy.
Fireworks, baby. All right, well, that is it. That's going to wrap up this episode of Hawks Real Talk. I want to thank my panelists here for always taking the time to be on this. Abel Pasley, Nick LaBow, Sky-High Aviation. All of their YouTube channels are in the description if you want to check out their own content. And thank you guys for watching and being in the chat. Please, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. It would be a great help to my channel. All right, more videos to come later. I've got to do some video recaps or like the game reactions of the 49ers game. I got to do the music prediction video for this Atlanta game. Lots more to do. And then, of course, the game itself on Sunday, doing a collaborative live stream with Sports Live and the ATL. It's going to be hopefully fun. But yeah, that is it. So thank you guys. And again, thanks again to the sponsor of this show, BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Go check them out. YouTube 150 to get that special matching deal. And that is it. Let's kick that intro one more time. Here we go.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
We're going to beat them. Those dirty birds are going to win. Go Hawks. Tell the Perch I love you.
Go Hawks.
Whoa. Oh, my gosh.
Go Hawks, baby.
That was beautiful. Norb,